Hi again everyone, Scout Pirate Popcorn fan here, and in this video I am excited to talk about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So this will be my full, proper review. The season finale just aired today, and I was definitely very pleased with the finale. I think it did a lot, and you know where these characters are. You know where most of these characters are and where they go in the original trilogy, so you know their endings, and I just find it very fascinating with what they did do in the ending that kind of help set up the events of the original trilogy. And I just find this very fascinating because this Obi-Wan Kenobi show, it really does feel like a proper continuation of Revenge of the Sith in many ways, while at the same time being sort of a bridge between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, kind of like what Rogue One did. I think this is easily a show where you just get so wrapped up into the story. At least for me, I was very invested from beginning to end, from episode 1 to this final episode. I was just thoroughly entertained and just so fascinated by what the writers were able to do with this show, because when this show starts, Obi-Wan Kenobi is at his lowest point emotionally, then seeing him sort of regain that hope back by the end of the series sort of gives him the ability to basically learn not learn, but the ability to regain his power, I guess, with to regain his connection with the Force. That plays into the finale, which I don't want to spoil, but yeah, wow. For those of you who might not know, there are quite a few surprise cameos throughout this series. One in particular that surprised me in the first episode, who was actually a main character throughout the season. I'm not going to spoil, but it was really fascinating to watch because it reminded me of The Last of Us to a degree. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but the Obi-Wan and his interaction with this other character reminded me of The Last of Us throughout the show. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, and seeing Darth Vader again, oh my god. Darth Vader, some of his best moments easily are on this show, especially in that finale. Wow. This is so much I want to talk about but I don't want to spoil it for those of you who haven't watched it yet. But yeah, I just really enjoyed this show, and also, like, the main villain other than Darth Vader was Reva, the third sister of the Inquisitor. At first, I wasn't sure about her character at first, but in the later episodes you learn her backstory, and her backstory sort of connects to what happens in Revenge of the Sith, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. But it was very fascinating learning her backstory, and you could really see that, and seeing where her arc ends at the end of the series, I thought was fitting. And I think seeing that conflict within her in that finale, and sort of seeing that resolution also with where her character ends emotionally, I thought was definitely fascinating. But they did cut it close quite a bit with the chronological order of the timeline. I feel like they could have avoided some of that, but it did work. I mean, it worked. Like, what they did do did work, and the timeline is still intact, especially with one character in particular in this show who appears in Star Wars Rebels. For those of you who may not know what I'm talking about, I guess the Grand Inquisitor, he's on Star Wars Rebels. He's on this show as well, You know, the Inquisitors have quite a bit of a presence here, and the Grand Inquisitor, what happens to him midway through this season, I wasn't sure what they were going to do with his character, but then they brought him back at the end of the season, so he's not, he's I think his design, it could have been a little bit better, I guess. He didn't have the yellow eyes like he does on Star Wars Rebels. So I guess that's just my one little complaint. Some of the design choices on the Grand Inquisitor weren't the same as they were on Star Wars Rebels. I mean, live action, animation, different, I get that, but he didn't have the yellow eyes like he does in Star Wars Rebels. So that's just my one little thing about that. But I just found the show just so satisfying in so many ways. I really enjoyed the show. It's probably my second favorite Star Wars live action Disney Plus show, next to The Mandalorian, and then like Book of Boba Fett, like down the bottom. At least for me, like as a ranking, The Mandalorian still my favorite Star Wars show out of the three. Then Obi-Wan Kenobi, then Book of Boba Fett. That's like my ranking from best to worst, if you ask me. And if I had to give like an overall grade for Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'd probably give it an A, because I don't have too many flaws with it. I mean, some of the villains weren't, all fleshed out like entirely. Like I said, the Grand Inquisitor, we do get quite a bit of him in this show, but he's not really fleshed out. Like maybe if they did a little bit more with him, I would have, understood his character a little bit more. But I did like what they did with Ariva, and I just think that they did a really good job with Vader, and so many great moments with his character. Oh man. But yeah, that's my grade for this show. It's an A for me. I loved it. Definitely something worth the price of admission, I guess, if this were a movie. But yeah, that should do it for this review. Definitely something that I think will please a lot of Star Wars fans that are fans of the prequels. This show really is basically like a sequel story to Revenge of the Sith, and it was very fascinating and satisfying for me as a massive fan of the prequel trilogy. Wow, I loved it. So that should do it for this video. Once I do get a chance to see the Lightyear movie, I will do a review for it. I'm not sure when I'll get the chance to see it, but when I do, I might do a review with it with my buddy Sean when I see that movie. We'll see. So yeah, that should do it. Thank you guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.